Had surgery for a torn ligament in his right thumb. He's expected to make a full recovery. From the NHL, Devils winger Jesper Bratt signs an 8-year, $63 million extension with the team. He's only 24, but he's already played 6 seasons with New Jersey.
Coming up Friday, does LeBron James deserve a statue outside of Staples Center? That's what I call it. One Laker legend believes so, but do I agree with him? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Mac, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Jacob Beck. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, do we have a ton to get to. The Saints wrap up mini camp. LSU football lands another commitment. LSU baseball lands a commitment. The Tigers are in Omaha. We got a lot to do, but let's start right here. Ooh.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so last night we learned who LSU's 2024 opponents will be. So excited about this. We always talk about not just who you play, but when and where you play them. That matters very much. And so if you're going to tell me who LSU's 2024 opponents are going to be, I'm going to be keenly interested not only in that, but also in who everybody else plays. So LSU put out a very nice graphic for 2024, and we knew that the SEC had some things that they wanted to accomplish. They were going to maintain a lot of traditional rivalries. Like we knew Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia. We had got leaked that Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee. A lot of those. The Egg Bowl, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. A lot of the games that we had come to expect and see, and even all of the, let me rephrase, almost all of the cross-division rivalries in the old format have been preserved as well, for 2024 anyway, except for Ole Miss, Vandy, and Kentucky, Mississippi State, because, well, who really cares? And that was just a way to saddle the 4 bad teams with each other so that it wasn't completely unfair for the really bad teams in the conference. Here you go for LSU. We'll run through what they have, and then I'll give you a sense of my reaction to it. So LSU at home will play Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. Of course, getting Vanderbilt on the schedule is a very good thing. The road games, Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. Remember, also in 2024, LSU plays both of the Big Ten schools from Los Angeles. You open up in Las Vegas against USC, and then 3 weeks later, you're at home against UCLA. So a couple of things that I really like about this. First of all, I loathe the garbage, cupcake, gimme paycheck games where some patsy comes, gets their ass kicked just to go home with a paycheck. Nobody wants to see it. There's no fan alive that wants to see it. The playoff committee doesn't know what to do with that. It's just waste. It is a waste of all of our times. All of us are worse off for wasting moments of our life watching Power 5 teams kick the holy hell out of Group of 5 and FCS opponents. Nobody wants to see it. So give me a schedule that is really intriguing week in and week out across the board. Because I know the drawback. You're going to say, well, what if every league doesn't do that? And I get it. That's why we need an expanded playoff, which we're getting, and we're getting closer and closer. But yes, give me games people want to see. LSU's 2024 schedule, you're going to open up in Vegas against USC. Thank you. Now you're going to play two awful teams that nobody cares about. You're going to play Nichols and you're going to play South Alabama. But then UCLA is going to come to Baton Rouge as well. And then you're going to have home games against Bama, Oklahoma, traditional rivalry against Ole Miss, and you got Vandy in there as well. Thank you. I'll take the layup. Road games, you keep the battle for the boot. You keep the game against Florida, which a lot of LSU fans have come to love. You go to South Carolina, which Williams-Brice is always a really good atmosphere. And then you keep the game that last weekend against Texas A&M. And actually, we're going to see when that game is played because, of course, Texas and Texas A&M traditionally played on Thanksgiving weekend. And if LSU and Texas A&M, who have been in that slot since A&M's been in the league, or since they flipped that around, if that moves, then maybe the Texas A&M LSU game moves off of that weekend. But mostly, I love the fact that we're going to see a glut of meaningful football games. That is a great thing. You know, I remember looking back and seeing some of these schedules that LSU would play, like LSU football schedules from the 1980s. Like, go look up the schedule from 1986, for example. Like, yes, LSU played Miami of Ohio, and that was the only sort of body bag game that season, but it was a game that LSU actually lost week 2 to Miami of Ohio. But you opened up with a non-conference game against Texas A&M, then you played Miami of Ohio. You played Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina as a non-conference game in October. You had Ole Miss, Bama, Mississippi State. Then there was Notre Dame in November that LSU won in Baton Rouge. And then they played Tulane as well, which at the time was a game that LSU played every year. There's so much meat on that schedule. Like 1988 was very similar. Like, I love going back and looking at some of these schedules. You played A&M, Tennessee, Ohio State at the Shoe, Florida, Auburn, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State, Miami, of course, came to Baton Rouge and beat the crap out of LSU 44-3. And then you played Tulane. But the point is, you had games that every week people wanted to see. Give me more of that. College football needs to get back to that as well. Some other reactions just from the schedule as a whole. I think it's pretty clear what the league did, and Greg Sankey has talked about this. You basically looked at the league and split it in half. And you looked at a large sample of, say, the last decade, and this is sort of what had leaked as they were going through all these conversations. You really had the haves and the have-nots. Over the last decade, teams that maybe were above 500 and teams that were below 500. You found that line of demarcation. Now, here's the really tricky thing, because when you use that standard, you know, you're looking at schools like Alabama, Auburn, alphabetically. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M. And then the have-nots would be Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. The real tricky part there is look at what is happening right now in the league. Tennessee just won 11 games. They're in the bottom tier because of their history, but now they certainly seem to be on the come. So if Alabama's drawing Tennessee every year, that's, in theory, a team from the bottom half that now is part of the top. But you could also flip that with Auburn, who over the last decade has been a top half team, but now they might be sliding. I could say the same for Florida. Who knows what's going to happen with Texas A&M? So there's part of that in this component as well. I think from an LSU perspective, the only disappointing part is for 2024, you don't draw Mississippi State and Auburn. State is the game LSU has played more than any other opponent in its football history, and Auburn has provided some of the greatest moments in LSU football history and happens to be my personal favorite rivalry game. So I'm bummed to see that go. But like the old saying goes, like, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. If you're going to expand the league, some things are going to go. So if it means LSU and Auburn don't play every single year, yeah, I'm disappointed, but I like the direction the league and college football are heading as a whole more so. Oklahoma is only going to have 3 home conference games in 2024 because they're playing Texas as the home team at the neutral site in the Cotton Bowl. So they'll only get 3 true home games. And I think, honestly, y'all, the team that came away the best is Arkansas in 2024. And depending on how this year goes, that is going to be a pretty pivotal year for Sam Pittman. And they don't draw Georgia or Bama. So remember, in the Old West, they would have drawn Alabama. So they don't get either team that's been basically the best team in their respective divisions. They get some of their old conference rivals. So they play Texas and LSU in Fayetteville. Their 4 road conference opponents, Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Missouri, they all stunk last year. So I think Arkansas is the team that probably, provided Sam Pittman can start to trend up, was the biggest winner on the schedule for 2024. So, and if you want to look at LSU's schedule, just one more thought on this. Just look at what this is going to mean for LSU as far as when you're facing your 2024 opponents. I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for Alabama. Dylan Gabriel will be gone at Oklahoma, so they'll have a new quarterback. You probably get Walker Howard as the quarterback of Ole Miss coming into Baton Rouge. Vanderbilt, who cares? Arkansas, first year without KJ Jefferson. Florida, who knows? South Carolina will be replacing Spencer Rattler. And then Texas A&M, who knows? And then also want to talk about the non-conference games. Remember, as you play USC in Vegas, that's going to be SC's first game without Caleb Williams. So there's a lot of things where the schedule looks really enticing. It's going to be a great home slate, and you're probably getting some favorable draws there as well. So I like it a lot, man. I'm really, really excited. I would have loved to have seen a 9-game conference schedule, but I also look at a 9-game conference schedule in a year where LSU's got 2 Power 5 non-conference opponents and can understand why some may be exhaling a little bit considering. So we'll talk with Peter Burns of the SEC Network coming up in hour number 2, get his thoughts on the league as a whole. We kind of wanted to take an LSU approach, but we'll get his thoughts on it as a whole. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, Shea Dixon's going to be with us. LSU, for the 3rd time in 4 days, has landed a commitment. What is up with this heater Brian Kelly and his staff are riding right now? We'll talk about it with Shea Dixon when we come back. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light, where we keep reminding you, of course, check out, when you go to any of your favorite retailers, make sure you check out the Bud Light aluminum bottle with the camouflage on it. Those bottles, every purchase, a portion of that sale is going to Folds of Honor, a great charity that raises money and funds for children, for scholarships for children of our fallen war heroes. 13 years, Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser were inaugural partners of Folds of Honor 13 years ago. Of course, there's 13 stripes, there's 13 folds on the flag, and now 13 years. They've raised more than $21 million over the life of this program. So drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light this Father's Day. Make sure you check out the camouflage aluminum bottles of Bud Light and help us raise money for Folds of Honor. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Talk some Cruton with Shea Dixon next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Y'all, it is here, man. The summer months are upon us, and this is when the home market is humming. So if you're thinking of moving, maybe you're getting transferred for your job, whatever the case may be, the kids are out of school, this is the time when you want to pack up because you have some downtime with the family and move. Find that home if you're looking to upsize. Maybe you're an empty nester, you're going to downsize. Make sure you call the realtor that sells more homes than anyone. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. You can go to the website. You can see all of the featured listings right there from Darren and his team right at the homepage of the website, or search any home from realtors who know this market. It's Darren James, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Get 3.99% financing at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Brian Kelly and his staff riding a heater on the recruiting trail. Third commitment in 4 days. On Thursday, it was Andre Evans, a 4-star defensive back out of the state of Tennessee, pledging to the Tigers. He's the 18th commit for LSU's class. Shay Dixon, good enough to join us here now on Twitter at Shay Dixon. Of course, I'm on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing really well, man. What can you tell us about Andre Evans?
Yeah, this is a kid who sprung up quickly kind of after his junior season this past fall. So he's a rising senior out of Nashville. And when the On3 rankings team got a look at him, they moved him up not just to a 4-star this offseason, but in track he was running 10.5s in the 100. He had some solid junior film. So they made him a top 100 prospect, which is kind of pretty far from where everyone else has him ranked right now. But it was clear that Matt, when he got to camps this summer and college coaches got a look at him, I think they were agreeing with kind of what the On3 view was of this is one of the better cornerbacks in America. And I think in the span of, at the start of June, just a few days, he had added LSU, Georgia, and Alabama offers. So about as big of a rise as you can get for a kid who at the time, NC State and a lot of other schools for the teams who had kind of been recruiting him heavily. So he shoots up a lot of boards. He came down to LSU's camp a week ago at the first elite camp, and he was the best corner there. And Brian Kelly pulled him aside and talked to him for a while. Robert Steeples, the corners coach, has done a very good job here recruiting the corner class, but then really getting in on Evans and getting a relationship with him and his camp up in Nashville. And he ends up shutting things down. He was scheduled to be at NC State this weekend and make some other visits. He wiped it all clean. He said, I wanted to announce my commitment today, which was Thursday, and then tomorrow he'll be in Baton Rouge for his official visit. So this one moved about as quickly as it can for a kid who blew up sort of late in the process, given he's about to be a senior.
Shay, I've seen that he played both offense and defense in high school. Did LSU, they are recruiting him as a defensive back?
Yes, as a corner. And right now we've got him ranked, as I said, I'm on the top 100 player, but the number 1 prospect in Tennessee and the number 12 corner in the country. And I bet we could see him climb into that top 10 corner range. So we've talked, I mean, I've said it on your show. You've said it a million times. Whenever Brian Kelly took over, it was a multi-year rebuild at corner. And that's come to fruition through the reality of them taking all of these transfer corners a year ago, then doing it again this offseason, because we look at the roster and they have one guy back at corner, and that's Laterrence Welsh, who was, a true freshman this past season. He played on special teams. And then you look at the high school signees they had in December and February, Matt, and only one was a true corner, and that was Jeremiah Hughes, who they went all the way out to Las Vegas to get. So it was high time that Robert Steeples knew, hey, look, we've got to buckle in this cycle, get some high school corners on board. And I believe this is their 3rd or 4th corner committed, and they won't be done yet. So they really wanted to rebuild this room with some young high school talent that they feel like they could come in, develop, and keep on campus for a few years.
Shay, one thing that we learned about with the previous staff was, you didn't get an offer unless you came to camp, right? I mean, you had to come to camp to get your committable offer. What have we learned about how Brian Kelly handles things? Because it's pretty evident this week they put a lot of stock in what they saw, what they've seen so far in these elite camps.
Yes, and that's getting a lot of younger guys offered too, which I think will be the new norm. So we used to be way before they did the early signing period, and then allowed kids to take official visits before their senior year even started. So all these kids who are doing official visits right now are juniors in high school, or they just finished their junior year of high school. So that really shifted what summer camp became, because so many of these kids use the month of June instead of camping. They're out making official visits. So it gives you a good eye on the future, and they made it pretty clear that, hey, if you come down and compete, that's where you're going to be front and center for a potential offer. And we've seen double-digit offers handed out, including a number of kids in Louisiana for the future who picked up offers. So still very much they care about camp. And the reason being is clear. I mean, if you're a coach, head coach, position coach, whatever it might be, you can evaluate a kid on film. You can watch him Friday night. You have access to every, I'm not talking huddle highlights, you have access to every all 22 that the kid has probably. And you can watch him run track. You can do all these things, but until you have him in a camp setting, which is the only time that allows college coaches to be hands-on with recruits and put them through drills and put them one-on-one and have combine-type measurements for them and testing, that gives you so much more insight into what a kid's about on the field. And then meeting with him in person and seeing that competitive nature gives you a glimpse of how he is away from the field. So, yes, it is still very much, and with Frank Wilson there, it always will be, camp is a priority for them.
A couple more for you here, Shay. I wanted to ask about Kylan Billiot, the wide receiver out of Terrebonne, who committed earlier this week as well. It seems like, Shay, that's another one where the kid came to camp, blew up, and they're like, all right, here's your offer.
Yeah, and a good job there with Billiot. So I was doing Billy O about a year ago when I first heard, because anyone from south of I-10, I've messed up their name every which way from Sunday, and I think it's from trying too hard to give that Cajun flair to it. I think I called Harold Simone until like his sophomore year of college.
Hey,
so,
he's from the Lafayette area, right? He's from Eunice. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. He is a Eunice. By the way, I did ask a Bayou native how to pronounce Billiot's last name. So I made sure that before I went on air with it that I had it. So that was not anything that I just nailed. I did get it confirmed.
No, of course not. And that's why you have all those awards on your desk and all that. And I just presumed and just went out and started calling him that on the air and everywhere else. So without asking anybody. But yeah, look, they picked up a year ago. They had him at camp, and this is a kid who had played basketball at Terrebonne and then made the move over to football. And we've seen this happen a lot, especially with skill players. And then they're a little bit behind on maybe football development, but you see the raw upside. I mean, this is a kid with an almost 80-inch wingspan. He can jump out the gym. And then he really put a focus into football this past year and started to pick up some offers. But unless you're going all the way down to Omaha, you don't get to see on film kind of how good and promising of a prospect he is. And I think that's what benefits LSU. He had not stacked up on SEC offers yet because he hadn't hit that camp circuit where he's going around to each SEC school and nabbing offers. He made it a priority to go to LSU first, and they watched him work out again. They had him back for the 7-on-7 tournament this past weekend, a week ago. And from there, as soon as the tournament ended, he helped get Terrebonne all the way to the finals against LCA, who's obviously one of the best teams in the state. LCA wins, but right after that, the staff was right there with Billy Ott and handed him the offer, and he said, let me go home and tell my mom, and then we'll shut this thing down. And a few days later, he was a public commitment. So these are the type of guys I like a lot, too, who come to camp and earn it. Like DJ Chark did that in a year where he was overshadowed by some guys who were more highly ranked, Trey Quinn, Malachi Dupre. There were others in that cycle, and you get a kid coming out of Ash who works out at camp and, gets an offer where he didn't have any other big SEC offers at the time, and we saw how that one panned out. And if they have faith in what they can develop, then he's a pretty good raw prospect to take. And in my opinion, we could look back and say he ends up being the best receiver to come out of Louisiana this cycle.
He is Shea Dixon. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon from On3. Hey, they're at 18 commits. I always have to think now in terms of the hard cap is gone, so they can sign as many as they want as long as they stay under the 85. So what's next, Shea? Like, where are they looking to positionally maybe load up, and how are they looking at numbers?
Yeah, I think the numbers thing isn't quite a concern yet just because they've done a good job of managing the board. So they've got official visits these next 2 weekends with rising seniors that I think will probably bring more clarity in terms of who they're getting, what positions are going to fill up. Offensive line is one where they have one guy committed, but Marcus Mescal announces on Monday. They've got 2 big targets coming in over the next 2 weekends in Blake Ivy and Ori Williams out of Texas, who are offensive linemen. So we could start to see maybe some of those dominoes fall. And really, it's a thing where I believe Brian Kelly said this, maybe it's signing day, but remember that first year where he signed like 15 high school kids, and then I signed like 20-something transfers, and then the numbers kind of got a little bit more even. They signed 20-something high school kids, and we're in the teens on transfers. I think they want to be, as Kelly said, closer to 30, let's say 28, 30 high school kids, and then you're taking 10 or fewer transfers, and really just having to say transfers are best available or guys that can come in and help us win right now, not having to fill out our entire roster with transfers. That's something they want to lean much more on. Hey, let's recruit high school kids, let's develop them. And what I really like that they're doing, Matt, is of those 18 guys, the big majority is from Louisiana. And beyond Louisiana being per capita one of the highest producing talent states for college or the NFL or whatever metric you want to use, and using Louisiana kids wanting to play at LSU, the transfer portal era, I look at that 2020 recruiting class, which had like Eric Gilbert and all those guys in it. Obviously, that was a COVID year. 18 of the 22 guys have already transferred out, which is wild. And then 16 of those 18, Coy Moore and TJ Finley being the only ones who weren't, are out-of-state guys. So in the transfer portal era, if you're losing the majority of the out-of-state guys you signed because they're not playing or whatever it might be, and you're turning around in the portal and trying actively to get Louisiana natives back home, well, why not just start there? Why not just load up on Louisiana guys that you feel good about out of high school? And I think they've done that this cycle, and I think guys like Billy Otter are a very good example of it.
Andre Evans, the latest, LSU up to 18 commits 3 in 4 days. What a heater for Brian Kelly and the staff right now. Make sure you're following him on Twitter at Shea Dixon, on 3 The Bengal Tiger. You can get there and subscribe up as well. Shea, we appreciate you as always, man. Thanks for jumping aboard.
Absolutely. Anytime, Matt.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Man, I love driving my my Atlas Cross Sport. Sometimes I'm hauling kiddos. This morning brought my niece and Drew to camp at St. Lillian Academy, and sometimes it's going on the family road trip like Erica and Drew and I did a couple of weeks ago, going down to the beach in Florida. Maybe it's just driving to work every single day, but I love the style, the feel, the performance of my Volkswagen, every one that I've ever owned, and that number's getting high now. But I love the Cross Sport, so check it out. The Atlas Cross Sport, it's the family SUV where you just take out the third row, and it's a little sleeker on the backside. But if you want that Atlas, the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV, you can get it at southpointvw.com. Shop them online, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging with us here. One quick note, we were expecting to have Charles and Jimmy on from Omaha tonight at 6 o'clock as soon as AFR ended. Charles, there had flight issues. He missed his connecting flight in, I believe, in St. Louis. So I do believe he has his luggage this time, however. But so Charles isn't going to be, and he's got the broadcast equipment, so he's not going to be in Omaha in time tonight to do that show. So we'll pick up our Omaha coverage tomorrow with Live at Lunch from 11 to 1. All right, it is after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. David Cloninger is going to join us. Buddy who covers South Carolina really well, and not something I thought I'd be doing, but LSU baseball picked up a commitment from South Carolina out of the transfer portal. So we'll head up to Columbia to get the deets there. Peter Burns of the SEC Network in 1 hour. Anthony Renato in hour number 3. Maddie Hudak with the Saints Camp Report in hour 3. We are loaded up today, and glad you're hanging out here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers. Remember, every Thursday at Pluckers is all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. So they take white meat chicken, they bread it, they fry it, they toss it in your favorite wing sauce, and you can eat as many of them as you want all night long, every single Thursday for one low price. So get on by either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Got Major League Baseball tonight. You got your full slate of games. So if you want to watch some MLB tonight, any out-of-market game, of course, you can watch all season long at either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet, dining, carry-out, or delivery. But to get all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites tonight and every Thursday, you got to dine in. So get by either location. Watch your favorite sporting event, drink some ice-cold draft beer. Great way to start the weekend a little bit early. College World Series will be on starting tomorrow, so get on by and watch all of the CWS action at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'd say there are no more distractions. We know what our goal is here. We're not just here to show up, and show face. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to compete, and we're going to do that. We're going to win one pitch at a time.
Trey Morgan as LSU arrived at Charles Schwab Field yesterday in Omaha. Today, the Tigers will practice at Charles Schwab, and then tomorrow, of course, games begin, so they'll practice off-site. Not the only newsworthy thing there around the LSU baseball program. We are fully expecting it to be a finish to this season and postseason award haul for the likes of Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz. And Paul Skeens pulled in a big one today. The Dick Hauser Trophy winner was announced today, and Paul Skeens is the winner of the Dick Hauser Trophy, going to the National Player of the Year. He becomes the second winner in program history. Eddie Furness won that award back in 1998. So, of course, the Golden Spikes and the Dick Hauser are among the top awards given to amateur baseball players or college baseball players in this instance. And really cool to see it. We don't often, even with all the great players that have come through this program, to stand above them all and win an award like this. Again, it's only happened one other time in program history. So whether it's Skeens or Cruz, I think they're both going to take home their fair share of hardware here. And Paul Skeens today was on the MLB Network after the announcement of the Dick Hauser Award and talked about winning the trophy.
It was awesome. Obviously, a huge honor to win this. And yeah, I mean, I was speechless.
He also asked him if him and Cruz had a bet. It's kind of funny to see who might end up with more awards.
No, we did. We don't talk a whole lot about that kind of thing. But I mean, could have gone to him as well. Could have gone to a few other people. But huge honor, for me to win it.
Paul Skeens is a conversation, and how LSU uses Paul Skeens is a conversation we've had a good bit here, and we'll continue to have for as long as LSU stays in Omaha. Jay Johnson's going to meet with the media here in about an hour or so after LSU's workout there in Omaha. And I'm sure they'll ask about pitching plans, and I'm sure he'll deflect and not reveal anything because that's how he chooses to do it, and that's perfectly fine, and again, his right and his prerogative. But, I think one of the most obvious reasons why LSU will throw Paul Skeens on Saturday in Game 1, aside from you're facing a really good Tennessee team and you want to give yourself the best chance to win, is it's the only way that you have a legitimate opportunity or even the possibility of using Paul Skeens 3 times in Omaha. And so there's been a lot of conversation. He threw 124 pitches in the regional and about the workload and all that stuff. We had a great conversation earlier this week on AFR with Ben McDonald about that. And I thought Ben was spot on in explaining how, even despite some of those pitch counts like that, how LSU has managed his arm care, and it's not a concern in any way. Paul Skeens was asked about that today on the MLB Network, about his pitch count and his use here late in the season.
I don't think about that too much because it's just what I can do with my body. And when I think I went 123 a couple weeks ago and felt like I could go more. So I want to compete as long as I can, and it's probably my coach's decision to decide when to pull me out. But I'm gonna go out there and compete as long as they let me every outing. And I feel great. I felt great, and don't know that I'll be going 156, but I'm going to go out there and compete as long as I can every week.
just as a reminder, you throw Skeens on Saturday. It's the one real downside to being in bracket 2 when you start on Saturday instead of on Friday. The if necessary game is Thursday and is next Thursday, a week from today, and everybody has off Friday before the championship series starts Saturday. So theoretically, Skeens throws Saturday against Tennessee. He'd be off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days, and conceivably could come back to pitch in an elimination, the if necessary elimination game. Like you win this game, you go to the championship series, lose this game, your season's over. Skeens could come back on 4 days rest and pitch that day. If he did pitch on Thursday, the only way that you might get him again is if he's off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If the championship series got to Monday on 3 days rest, he could probably give you something on what would be his bullpen day. Not a full start, not 100 pitches, nothing along those lines, but something, maybe out of the bullpen or a shorter start. So it's just one of many reasons why Paul Skeens needs to be the starter against Tennessee when LSU faces the Vols on Saturday. All right, we'll go around the SEC in just a second. Remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. If you need tires, why in the world would you go anywhere else? Shawbill's been around for more than 50 years. They'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. No one's going to sell you the best tires on the road at cheaper prices than Shawbill's. And when you purchase tires at Shawbill's, you get the Charlie's Dozen. That's a dozen benefits extended to you and your family, every vehicle in your family, when you buy when you buy your tires for your vehicles at Shawbill's. You can schedule service online. You can find your location online. You can shop tires online. The exact tire or specification you may need, you can get it right there at ShawBillsTire.com. And they also tell you more about the price match guarantee. Get more with your next purchase at Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. You can also learn about the Charlie's Dozen as well. The dozen benefits extended to you and your vehicle whenever you buy your tires at Shawbill's. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbill's. We keep you rolling. Okay, let's do it. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Keep an eye on this one. Alabama third baseman Colby Shelton has entered the transfer portal. He led the Crimson Tide with 25 homers in his freshman season there in Tuscaloosa this year. He will have 3 seasons of eligibility wherever he goes, although there's no chance that kid plays 3 more years of college baseball, and he'll be able to pick his destination. And my assumption is Jay Johnson is going to have something to say about this. Colby Shelton in the transfer portal.
The Florida Gators.
Florida, for the second consecutive years, landed a big pitcher out of the transfer portal. This time, it's UCLA's Kelly Austin. Did you catch it? Or no, you flexing him? 6-foot righty. Made nearly 30 starts for the Bruins, 159 2/3 innings under his belt for his career. Austin with just 1 year of eligibility remaining as a grad transfer. He'll spend it in Gainesville.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky baseball has had a couple of players hit the portal and added one. Delaware State infielder Trey Page is headed to Lexington. Meanwhile, outfielder Kendall Ewell, he's back in the portal after 1 season with Kentucky. Also, left-handed pitcher Reed Gannon also jumped in the portal. Gannon's a 6'3", 185-pounder that was the number 5 overall player in Illinois in his class.
Texas A&M!
The Aggies have their second signal caller. It feels like it's been a minute. Yeah, that one. Second signal caller for the 2024 class. It's a 3-star Miles O'Neill who's committed to the Aggies. He's out of New Jersey. Speaking of Jersey, we got Renato coming up in hour 3. Jersey Pride today. 6'5", 220, the 41st best quarterback in the class, 14th player in the state of New Jersey.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn got a commitment from 2024 linebacker Joseph Phillips. He's the 8th best player in the state of Alabama. He picked Auburn over Georgia and Tennessee. I hit the ceiling. With that one. He's the number 10 rated linebacker in the country, the 8th best player in Alabama.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
We got another one.
What is it about Vanderbilt? Give it to me. Let's go.
Is it about let me remind you. Get my pen here.
Yep.
We had Simi Shitu.
We saw that we had that. Yep.
Simi Shitu.
Yeah, and we saw it.
I'm sorry?
Simi Shitu. We had that. We saw it.
We had Anthony Orgy.
Yep. Who's now with the Saints, right?
Who is now with the Saints. Who is the other one?
Oh,
there were two more.
And then one of them left.
Yeah, one of them
left, so we don't count him.
Well, it doesn't matter because this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
The faucet is flowing there in Nashville. Vanderbilt and Clark Lee have gotten a commitment from cornerback Elijah Theodule.
That's so good.
Like Elijah, but G-U-Y on the front. G-U-Y-L-I-J-A-H. Elijah. Theodule.
Theodule.
T-H-E-O-D-U-L-E. Elijah Theodule.
Say that 5 times fast. My goodness.
I am telling you what, Vanderbilt, they suck at football, but my goodness, can they churn out a name? And like most of them have been basketball players.
That's
actually.
true.
But my goodness, I am really excited about this. Offers from Georgia Tech, Illinois, Kansas, Louisville, Maryland, Syracuse, West Virginia. Guy had some offers out of Miami. Dude had some legit offers. He picked Elijah.
I think he goes by Guy.
I'm not your buddy, Guy. I'm not your guy, friend. I'm not your friend, buddy. South Park. Yes. Bigger, longer, uncut guy. Terrence Philippi. 6'2", 165-pounder. Multiple 100-meter times under 11 seconds. Elijah can fly. This guy can fly.
What's his last name?
Theodule.
Theodule.
T-H-E-O-D-U-L-E.
I like that. Theodule.
You think it's Theodule?
Nah, Theodule.
Let's stick with Theodule.
That's better anyway. I don't really care what it is. I'm calling him Theodule.
Elijah Theodule headed to Nashville. By the way, we'll be in Nashville. But there you have it. That is around the SEC. Presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them. GCOPnet.com. You need office equipment. Remember, they proudly sell the Savin line. They're a national leader among Savin dealers. It's crazy. They go to these conferences. They win all these national awards among Savin dealers. But they'll service all makes and models. So make sure you get on by and see our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number one. Listen, just because LSU is at the College World Series, don't think Jay Johnson ain't keeping his eye on the transfer portal. Colby Shelton of Alabama in the portal, and you better believe Jay Johnson is going to take a hefty cut at Colby Shelton to get him to Baton Rouge. And LSU already has landed one player in the transfer portal from the SEC. We'll talk about him coming up after the top of the hour. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number one next.
AFR.
ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Today I was dropping Drew off at school over at St. Lillian camp. They have camp at a school. And there was an EV in the parking lot. Something you'll notice more and more and more is how many people are driving electric vehicles. It makes sense. It's basically like the hockey stick curve is what you're seeing on all the charts of electric vehicle consumers and production from the manufacturers. Because more and more people want them. They're producing more and more, and you're starting to see more and more of them on the road. Well, what you need to see more of are electric vehicle chargers and charging stations. I'm telling you, if you're a business owner or you own a commercial building and you do not have an electric vehicle charger, you're missing an opportunity to be ahead of the curve, because there will be a day in the not-too-distant future where every single public place is going to have EV chargers, and you could be ahead of the curve. Remember, there are tap-to-pay options, so that actually becomes passive revenue for you and your business. Learn more. ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Muse, a little breaking news. Yeah, what you got over there? Pelicans kind of like hijacking the news cycle? What's going on?
Well, they're doing their very best, Matt. So we'll credit Andrew Lopez and Shams Charania on this because they both tweeted it at the exact same time. The New Orleans Pelicans have parted ways with assistant Teresa Witherspoon, Basketball Hall of Famer. Shams notes that she'd been on staff since 2020, developed a strong rapport with players like Zion Williamson, and turned down other opportunities in hopes of rising in New Orleans. They will go their separate ways.
Why are they doing that?
It's a very interesting question. It's going to only add fuel to the Zion trade rumors, though, that's for sure, because he loved D-Spin.
Yeah, so that's something that Andrew did note in his Twitter thread, that apparently Witherspoon and Zion were very close. She worked as his player development coach for the last few seasons. So go around the room. Thoughts. Do you think that Zion gets traded?
I don't. I don't. This makes me a little more hesitant, but I still say I don't.
Okay. Jacob Beck is in for Paul, who's vacationing. Beck, does Zion get traded?
No.
Why not?
They're going to give him at least one more year, I think, to see if he can play a full season and what it looks like. And if they want to trade him and he plays really well this year, then they get great value for him.
If he plays well this year, then you're not trading him.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, I think the easy answer is to say they're not going to trade him because it would feel like a monumental move. And it's very hard when you have pieces that big to actually get a deal across the finish line. I also just believe these things aren't PFA. They're not plucked from the air. Like, that is originating from somewhere with validity because you have a lot of people that would have knowledge of it. The Pelicans would have to have knowledge of it. The Hornets would have to have knowledge of it as well. Agents for the players would have to have knowledge of what's in the works potentially. So those leaks are coming from somewhere legitimate. Could be an interesting 7 days around the Pelicans. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The first round at Los Angeles Country Club brings a U.S. Open record round of 62 twice. Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele both shoot 8 under 62. They are tied for the lead. Schauffele's round was bogey-free. Off the course, the Department of Justice will review the planned merger of golf's 3 tours. That first reported by the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. Senate Finance Committee will also open a wide-ranging investigation. Will Live Golf still be a thing in 2024? ESPN's Mark Schlabach.
This is just a guess. I don't think
there will be Live Golf League in its current form. I think there could be some team competitions, and Bryson DeChambeau said that Yasser Al-Rumian told him that there's going to be some cool new ideas.
Mark Schleybaugh on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones held out from the team's minicamp this week. The 2023 season is the last year on his 4-year, $80 million contract. He tied his career high in sacks last season with 15.5.
Coming up Friday, does LeBron James deserve a statue outside of Staples Center? That's what I call it. One Laker legend believes so, but do I agree with him? Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Jacob Beck. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Man, we got a lot to get to. Peter Burns, bottom of this hour. 1 hour from right now, former Tiger pitcher, national champion Anthony Renato joins us. Talk Omaha. We'll talk some Saints camp with Matty Hudak. Gosh, a ton going on right now. How about this news, though? Even with LSU at the College World Series, the news cycle doesn't stop. Former South Carolina two-way player Michael Braswell has committed to LSU. And our buddy David Cloninger, good enough to join us for a couple minutes here to talk about Braswell transfer within the conference. DC, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Not bad, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. Take me back to here to Braswell's decision to leave South Carolina. How much of a surprise was that?
I mean, it was a little bit of a surprise, Matt, just because up until probably a couple of weeks before the Super Regionals for South Carolina bowed out, Braswell was going around saying how he was planning this summer to stick around campus and get stronger, work out, that kind of thing, because last summer he went home and he thought it would really help him. But then something changed. I'm not sure, what it was, but probably reading the tea leaves, probably some of his people got in touch with LSU's people, and they were like, well, maybe you ought to be better off somewhere else. So they got eliminated on Saturday night. By Sunday night, he was in the transfer portal, and today he commits to LSU. So a little surprising, because he left South Carolina because he wanted to be guaranteed a starting spot. That wasn't going to happen. But so maybe he got guaranteed that at LSU, but if they did, I'm like, I don't really know why. He's really good defender, but he's not a great hitter.
He's bounced around the infield a little bit too as well, right? Where's his best or most natural spot on the infield?
It would be at shortstop. I think that's where he's best, but he can't play second base. He can't play third base. And as a freshman, he even pitched a little bit. He was the Gamecocks closer for a hot minute there as a freshman. But this year, he started the season on the bench. He just got beat out for the job at short, second, and third. But then in the first conference weekend against Georgia, they needed him to pinch hit. And he came on, smoked a double. They ended up winning that game. He hit it in the ninth inning. So from then on, he was pretty much a mainstay because of injuries and a few other things.
Go back to that freshman year when he was part of the SEC All-Freshman team. He hit 284 that year. You mentioned he was a two-way guy. What worked well for him in transitioning into college baseball?
Well, he was already a plus defender. Great arm, great range, great instincts, knew exactly what to do. And, it's not easy coming in as a freshman to play shortstop in college, but he could handle it. And while he did end up hitting 284, he was hitting really well in the non-conference season. Then he got into the SEC and just plummeted from a batting average standpoint. Now, his numbers were so good beforehand, it ended up looking pretty good. But as we saw this year, he didn't start out well, and he actually improved as the season went on, although the numbers didn't really show it. But, again, plus defender, great kid. I think LSU's going to like him. But, again, if he left South Carolina because he couldn't be guaranteed a starting spot, I doubt Jay Johnson would have guaranteed him anything. And I think it might be kind of tough to win a starting shortstop job at LSU if you don't have the bat as well.
What do you think that there's a possibility of him continuing to pitch?
I mean, it's there. It's always there. He didn't do it this year. In fact, it's kind of a weird story. During one of the mid-season series where South Carolina really started to accumulate a lot of injuries, Michael Braswell was in the bullpen warming up, ready to come in and pitch. And right then, Will McGillis, the second baseman, took a pitch off his forearm, ended up breaking it, ended up missing half the year. So right at that inning, they said, Braz, quit pitching and come get your second baseman's glove and come in. So it at least was a possibility he was going to come in. I saw him out there warming up. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going to do this again. And then McGillis got hurt and was like, hey, we need you. So they ended up not doing it. But he didn't forget how, and he was pretty good in that brief time when he did it as a freshman.
That'll be interesting to see if he does develop into that role here as well. Let's talk about Braswell a bit as a hitter, though. Only 2 home runs as a freshman. We noted that the batting average did plummet this year, about 30 points. What? Tell us about him as a hitter.
Pure contact hitter, slap hitter. He can drive it to all fields. Not going to have a lot of power, but you're probably going to hit him up at the top of the lineup because he can't get on base. USC's never been a base-stealing team. They just have never really placed a premium on him. But he is that guy that if you get him on first, then you got a pretty good chance of getting him over to second safely. So, again, a good contact hitter. And this year, he started off slow but really improved as the season went on.
Michael Braswell leaving South Carolina for LSU. Tigers, David, are going to have maybe to replace around 20 guys on this team. I mean, it is going to be a pretty significant exodus after this year. How are the Gamecocks looking for next year after the Super Regional exit?
Well, it's looking pretty good right now, Matt. I mean, obviously, if you look at the lineup, your 2 big stars in the middle of it, Ethan Petrie, who was named National Freshman of the Year by Perfect Game today, and Cole Messina, the catcher, both those guys are coming back. So there's your 3 and your 4 hitters. You are losing your leadoff man and probably one more, but the rest of the lineup looks pretty good. They got to go get pitching. Because right now, I counted it up the other day, played 63 games this year, so 63 starts at pitcher. 41 of those starts are expected to not be here because of the draft. Of course, anything can happen, but I don't expect any of those 4 pitchers to be coming back. So they've got to go get some starting pitching out of the portal. Couple of guys coming in as freshmen that could contribute, but you know how it is. Unless they're just an absolute flame-throwing stud, you don't want to throw a freshman out there pitching on an SEC weekend. So they'd prefer to work those guys in.
David Cloninger, he's on Twitter at DCP&C. Y'all give him a follow. Does a great job shedding some light on Michael Braswell, new LSU baseball commit. Thanks, man. We appreciate you as always.
Not a problem, Matt. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. You be well. It's after further review. So, y'all, I'm just, listen, this ain't going to come as any surprise to anybody around here, especially after what Jay Johnson did a year ago when he went into the portal after his first year in Baton Rouge, where it was, you didn't host, it was a disappointing exit, and he went and got Paul Skeens, and he got Tommy White, and he got Christian Little. And I understand Little didn't have a great year, but at the same time, it was a heralded get at the time. You went and got Thatcher Hurd from UCLA. Remember, they went and got Carter Young and Jack Pineda as well. They needed middle infielders. Young from Vandy, Pineda from Baylor, both ended up signing after the draft. And then they went and got Ben Napolt. Point being, Jay Johnson ain't just going to lay around. I mean, again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, just sort of reinforcing it. If there is a dude in the portal that LSU thinks can help them get better, Jay Johnson is going to go make the most compelling sales pitch. Now, Braswell's interesting because he can do a lot of things. He can play most anywhere on the infield. You just heard David say he can pitch as well. The bat hasn't really followed, but sometimes that comes along with more ABs and more experience. But you're losing your middle infield, man. You're losing Gavin Dugas, and you're losing Jordan Thompson. And yes, Gavin Guidry's back. I don't know what Ben DePolt is going to do. I can't say confidently that they think he's going to be one of their starters next year. But you get an opportunity to go get a guy that can play. It's a versatile utility infield. Can play anywhere on your infield, especially when you're losing your middle infield. Yeah, I mean, I understand going to add a guy that's got 2 years of SEC experience and has had some big moments. So, sure. Come on down, kid. See what you got. All right, it's After Further Review. Thursday shows are brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. Remember, all this month, laser hair removal. Buy 4 treatments, get 2 free. You want to be done with back and shoulder hair forever? Ladies, you want to never shave your legs again? There's a way to do it. Laser hair removal at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break. Couple things that I want to touch on next. The Saints did wrap up minicamp. Matty Hudak's going to be with us in an hour, but Dennis Allen did meet with the media after practice. A little of what DA had to say. And Jay Johnson, Hayden Travinsky, Trey Morgan all met with reporters as well as LSU's getting ready to take actually on the practice field right now in Omaha. And Jay's set to meet with reporters in about 30 minutes when they wrap up their workout. So anything of significance that comes from that, we'll certainly pass it along to you. Peter Burns in about 15 minutes from right now talking about the 2024 SEC football schedule that was released on Wednesday night. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I am really excited. Of course, Sunday is Father's Day, and we always get to host our family for Father's Day, and I love to do that. Extended family all comes over, and instead of having me or someone else cook on Father's Day, we let Rouse's take care of it. This is great not only for Father's Day, but really any day. So we put in, they have the big meat market there at Rouse's. We go and we place an order, get a bunch of brisket, pulled pork. We get rolls so we can do pulled pork sandwiches, all the sides as well, potato au gratin, baked beans, mac and cheese. Pick your favorite, whatever. They got tons of them to choose from, and it's delicious. So it takes all of the work out of it for you. You just order it. You just go pick it up and then bring it home, heat it, and enjoy on Father's Day or whatever day that might be. It's at Rouse's. They got everything else that you need from all your chips and dips and sides and drinks and beer and wine and everything. They got it. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Wishing you happy Father's Day from Rouse's.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Saints wrapped up minicamp on Thursday. Dennis Allen met with reporters after, and there was one sort of newsy item, and that's that Chris Olave was out today. Dennis Allen explained why Olave missed practice.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling as good today. I think it was maybe a little Achilles inflammation or something, but nothing that we're worried about.
So that's good. Achilles inflammation, but nothing they're worried about. So onward and upward. No sense in running him out there and doing anything that could potentially hurt him. Allen also talked about the positions that had the most competition at this during this 3-day mini camp here as they're ramping up toward the full training camp.
I think there's a lot of competition in a lot of different areas. You know, kicker being one of them. I think there's some good competition in the defensive backfield. I think there's some good competition at the wide receiver position. So I was saying the other day, I feel like we've got some pretty good depth in terms of the start of training camp. So that's one of the things that has me excited.
If you have competition in the defensive backfield, you have a problem. He listed 3 positions: kicker, defensive back, wide receiver. If you have competition at defensive back, you got a problem, because your starters should be Lattimore, Adebo, and Alontae Taylor should be in the slot. And your safeties should be Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May. Like, that's it, right? Now, if you're talking about who's going to be the 7th, 8th, 9th defensive back, okay. But if you're talking about anyone other than those guys not having a job locked down, that's the problem. Now, we've talked plenty about how there was a legit battle at place kicker. And Will Lutz had a bad year last year. You're paying him a lot of money. He was thought to be a cap casualty. That does not surprise me at all. They have brought in that kid from Notre Dame to push him and to potentially steal his job or make him earn his job. So I'm totally fine with that. And wide receiver, that makes a ton of sense. You have brought in so many numbers at receiver. We keep talking about what feels like the big 3: Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed. Odd to say that about Shaheed since he doesn't really have the skins on the wall, but we all just assume those 3. Of course, for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, they still seem to think Traquan Smith provides some value whatsoever, but that's 4 right there. Before you even count Brian Edwards and James Washington, who they brought in, you're at 6. That's before you even start talking about any of the other guys like Kirk Merritt and the guys who've been hanging around, Kawan Baker. Remember, you really only keep 5 receivers. I mean, somebody, maybe one of the free agents you signed this offseason ain't making this team. So, yeah, there's going to be competition at receiver. That I believe. The defensive back one is the one that made me open my eyes and go, what in the world could be going on there? But worth following. The other thing of interest is, as they wrapped up this mini camp, Dennis Allen was asked if this team is better now, today, than they were at this point last year. And context matters so much, because remember last year, there were a lot of people picking the Saints to be a surprise Super Bowl. Wasn't it Bart Scott who picked the Saints to go to the Super Bowl? I think maybe Mike Tannenbaum did as well. Like, it was the Saints were a trendy sleeper pick because you had Jameis coming off the injury, and they were 5-2 in 2021 when Jameis went down. So the thought was, man, Jameis coming off the injury, you brought in Andy Dalton as a backup. We all thought, man, as a backup, Andy Dalton's great. No one was anticipated being the starting quarterback for the bulk of the season, but Taysom Hill was healthy and back in his slash role. I mean, you brought in Tyrann Mathieu, you brought in Jarvis Landry, you get Michael Thomas healthy. We were fired up about this team a year ago at this point. So with that context, Dennis Allen was asking you better now than you were last year.
I don't want to get into comparisons in terms of where we were last year. It really is not going to have any bearing on what we are this year. I do feel like that, like I said earlier, I feel like, I feel good about where we're at and the direction that we're headed. And but yet we still got a ton of stuff that we got to work on and improve on.
The odd thing, yes, that's true. The odd thing about New Orleans is, remember, a year ago, of course, you went 7-10. Now, your projected win total was higher than that number, but you had injuries and a lot of things didn't go your way. You lost close games. We all know how it went. So you went 7-10. Before the season, we were thinking Jameis Winston was going to be the quarterback and Michael Thomas was going to be healthy. There were a lot of things we assumed before last season that didn't pan out because of what happens generally over the course of an NFL season. Injuries happen. Some guys play better than you expect. Some guys don't play as well as you expect. Dennis Allen back as head coach. How was that going to go? Pete Carmichael calling plays without Sean Payton. Like, we got a lot of those answers, and they weren't good. And so now you look at a team where the projected win total is 9.5. So forget what we thought at the beginning of last year. Just consider what we knew about last year's team at the end when you were 7-10. The fact that the projection, the win total projection right now is 8.5 or 9.5, where do the Saints land? 8-9, 9-8 is essentially where they're being projected. Well, Adam Rank at the NFL Network did a projection for every NFL team, and he's got the Saints going 9-8. So below, or I guess above their projected win total of 8.5, putting them at 9-8, and 9-8 should be this year, I would assume, good enough to win this division. 8-9 was good enough to win it a year ago. So unless if someone pops off that we're not anticipating, but the other thing I'll continue to say is, even if you're 9-8 and you win this division, is that really good enough to beat any team in the playoffs? And the answer is probably no, which is why for this Saints team to actually be better, it's not just going to take being a 9-win team and making the playoffs. It's how much can you improve to where you feel like you can make a legitimate deep run in the playoffs. And that circles back to what Dennis Allen said at the end, where got a lot they have to improve on. And he's right with this team. All right. It's After Further Review. Brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. I actually have some SEC expansion odds. What are the odds of the next team to be added to the SEC? I'll get to that here in just a quick second. But again, Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. I strongly encourage you to go to the website. If mold isn't a fun thing to talk about, it's not like people get super psyched to hear me talk about mold here every day. But when you do have mold in your house, and sometimes when you have hidden mold, behind the wall, the sheetrock, whatever, it's scary and it's dangerous for you, for the entire family. And it can also be invasive and expensive to remove it. Cutting sheetrock, pulling out insulation from the home, a lot of that stuff. Don't do that. Call Mold Zero. It's a patented, non-toxic dry fog. They'll come in the house, they'll spray it. You can see pictures, you can see videos on the website of exactly what it is. Or if you want to talk to someone, just call Jim over at Mold Zero. He will explain the entire process to you. You want to save money? Call Mold Zero, as opposed to traditional remediation works. Mold-0usa.com. It's minimal disruption to your living space, your working space, your home, your office building, apartment complexes. They do it all. It's Mold Zero. Mold-0usa.com. You want to get rid of hidden mold in structures or wherever it could be in your home? Mold-0usa.com to learn more. All right, it's After Further Review. I mentioned this. So the SEC just on Wednesday announced the schedule for 2024. Its first season as a 16-team league. And that didn't stop odds makers from putting out odds on who would be the next expansion team from the Southeastern Conference. This is from bookies.com. I got this into the inbox today. Bookies.com has put out odds as to who will be the next expansion team into the Southeastern Conference. Leading the way is Florida State at plus 125 and Clemson right behind them at plus 200. North Carolina at plus 450. Virginia Tech at plus 800. You can take this, please. Virginia at plus 750. Miami at plus 800. Oklahoma State at plus 850. TCU at plus 2,000. And then the field at plus 1,000. Essentially, it's a 44% probability that Florida State is next and a 33% probability that Clemson is next, and then a gigantic drop-off to North Carolina, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Miami, etc. Florida State and Clemson don't make sense in the context of the expansion conversation we had a decade ago. When when the SEC added Texas A&M and Missouri, remember, they were about to launch the SEC network. So the whole concept was, how do we get into more media markets? Texas A&M got you into the state of Texas, which got you Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. Missouri got you into the state of Missouri, where you were not presently, got you into St. Louis and Kansas City. It was part of your contiguous footprint, meaning all the states touch. That's very important to the SEC and has been. So, like, the Big Ten adding the Los Angeles schools would not be appealing to the SEC because they want it to be the league to be contiguous. They want all of the states to border each other in the SEC, and that's something they've been able to maintain. But Florida State and Clemson wouldn't have made sense a decade ago because you were going for media markets, and you already had that. You had the University of South Carolina, and you had the entire state of Florida. So there was no point 10 years ago in adding those two schools. Competitively, it makes sense. Geographically, it makes sense. Financially, it didn't make sense. And you could say, well, why would you add Texas? Because you already had Texas A&M. It's true, because it's Texas. And Texas carries a gigantic national brand. We can laugh at them all we want about Texas being back and everything, but it's undeniable that Texas carries a major national brand. And so that does add cachet, and that does add value. I don't know that Clemson and Florida State add requisite value. If you add Clemson and Florida State, you might as well just tear down the whole thing as it is in college football and just have the thing that I've been talking about here forever, which is just college football. No more conferences or divisions or leagues or anything like that. Just have an invite-only, one big homogenous blob of college football where everybody plays everybody in a given year, rotating like you do in the NFL. And I think we're heading to there as an inevitability. It's just a matter of when, not if. Okay. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Peter Burns more about all this SEC stuff. The schedule released last night. Who are the winners, the losers, takeaways? We'll get to all of that with PB when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, we are going to have a beautiful weekend staring us straight in the face. Great opportunity to get by Clegg's Nursery. Now, listen, I tell you all the time how they got flowers and plants and trees and shrubs and all that stuff. It's not a great time to, like, plant a whole bunch of trees or shrubs in your yard. It's just too hot for that. Now, if you have the one-off shrub or tree that you like to plant, a citrus tree, sure. But if you're looking at total lawn and outdoor space makeover, not exactly. What is perfect right now are those beautiful summer flowers. You want to get dipldenias. You want to get knockout roses. Add that pop of color to those flower pots around the pool or the flower beds in the front yard or the side of the house. Clegg's can help you do that. They got the best inventory. They've got the most helpful staff and everything you would need from garden tools and everything you'd find at a True Value hardware store as well. All your garden decor, they got it at Clegg's. And if you're not sure what to get for that green thumb on your list, just get them a Clegg's gift card. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
is a taco more than just a taco when it's Government Taco? Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Always great to be joined by this beautiful man, Peter Burns of the SEC Network. How are you, PB?
Mateo, I'm doing good. In fact, I am sliding on my LSU Nikes right now, taking the kids out to dinner. So I'm in good shape. I'm fired up. We're about to ready to head to Omaha here on Sunday.
5:30 dinner there in Charlotte. 5:30.
Listen, man. When you got kids at 5 and 3, the quicker we can feed them and put them down, so we can get around to the rest of our lives like normal human beings.
Yes.
It's I'm all in for that world.
Respect. Hashtag respect. Hey, so first of all, how much of the schedule did you have leaked to you before the show last night?
Well, I mean, am I under court? Like, is this? I knew the schedule a couple of hours before our show.
Okay.
Obviously, we sat there and looked at it, and we're like, "Holy hell!" And then probably 30 different texts or calls from people reporters trying to be like, "Hey, man, just give me one game. Just slide this to me. Like, can you do it?" And I'm like, bro, I never get a chance to break news. And the fact that I had even broke the news earlier in the day about every single team was either going to play Texas or Oklahoma was cool, right? But then I realized I never want to get into that breaking news world. God bless the Dellingers and the all the other guys that end up doing that thing, the Pete Samuels and stuff like that. That ain't a world or a life that I want to get involved in.
Samesies. I say it all the time. There's no benefit to being a breaking news guy at all. Because
I would rather know. I'd love to know news on background and understand it, so I have a full comprehension of what's going on, as opposed to be like, hey, look at me. Because I think breaking news 20 years ago was a big deal. I think now the speed in which news gets out, nobody even remembers who really necessarily broke it, right? Like, you break it, and then 5-6 minutes later, 2 other people reported saying the same thing, and then more it's the commentary afterward that rings true.
Yeah. Nobody remembers who breaks it, but they sure as hell remember if you screw it up. So no sense in being breaking news guy.
That's what I wanted to do, Matt. Like I wanted to, like, there were 2 or 3 people that texted me that I don't have the greatest relationship with. I almost fed them the wrong schedule on purpose, just to leak out the mold. And like I think that's what the conference should have done. That they should have just been like, hey, no leaks of any of this, because I assumed the teams got the schedules the night before, so that way they can get all their promotional videos and social media
graphics and everything,
posts and graphics, and rightfully so. But again, this is probably another example of this stuff getting leaked. Is exactly why when Texas and Oklahoma were introduced, that no one knew that. Like, it was a very small, close-knit or circle, because I think Sankey knows, man. 2 people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. So.
Yep, there you go. You also said whenever you saw it, you said, holy hell. In relation to what?
I think just the fact of how balanced it was.
Okay.
Like, I start thinking about it, and I go, in years past, you look at Georgia's schedule this year, and you're like, okay, well, we'll just see you in the playoff, right? It feels like just kind of a stroll for them. And I think I looked at every single schedule, and I'm like, okay, well, this is hard. Okay, that's a hard game as well, too. Okay, maybe no, that's hard as well. So I felt like it, top to bottom was pretty equitable. And just the idea, Matt, of like, it's gonna be a while for me to get my head around no division, right? Like,
sure.
Just looking at this and not thinking that there's a East versus West. It's just SEC teams. Like, it's going to take me 1 or 2 years to get right on that.
Peter Burns is with us, SEC Network. They also maintained all of the previous permanent cross-divisional rivalries except for Ole Miss, Vandy, Kentucky, Mississippi State. They did a good job of maintaining the games that they said they were going to maintain, of course. Of the games that are going away, which one or ones are you most sad to see go?
LSU Auburn obviously has had so much. I can still remember the remote controls I broke when Cam Newton would get every 3rd and 3 for it seemed like 3 years out there, and that would piss me off. But there's been some great rivalries in between those two. But I look at it and I go, it's not as if they're never going to play football again. Right.
Right.
We'll probably see them in 25 on the schedule, as there's going to be much more of a rotation. And, the Ryder Cup is one of the best events in all of sports. We don't get that every year. We get that every other year. So there is still a buildup of it. So I think that was probably one of the biggest ones as far as from LSU fan. But trust me, like, between all the bets I've had with Chris Doering, how LSU has just stomped Florida over the last 4 seasons, like, I was fist pumping. Like, that's the first thing I looked at is LSU schedule. I didn't care about Bama. I didn't care about any of the other schedules. I'm like, do we get Florida? Oh, yes, we do. Hell yeah. I'm fired up for it.
Okay. We're also going to see LSU Alabama that maintains. There's been a lot of talk about Texas because you said, well, everybody's got a hard schedule. If there's one school that looks like maybe they got off kind of easy, Texas is the one everyone is kind of pointing to. Thoughts on what the Longhorns draw?
Yeah, I think, the thing is Texas is one of those teams. It reminds me of Kentucky in basketball, where people elevate their game just because they want to beat the brand so bad. I don't think that there's an intense hatred towards Oklahoma, right? Like, people want to beat Oklahoma, and it's a little bit easier now that Lincoln Riley's not there, and that incredible offense. But there is something about the Texas is back and wanting to beat the brand that I think elevates everybody's game. I remember what Arkansas did to Texas a couple of years ago was just, they embarrassed them. And of course, the LSU Texas game in the famous Burrow 3rd and God knows 73 yards that they actually went for it and got it. That was awesome. But I just don't think that there's such a thing as an easy schedule in the SEC. I think everybody that was clamoring for 9, that they look at this and go, okay, now if this what the schedule is going to look like, I can understand why the SEC, at least for 1 year, hit the pause button and said, let's see how this goes and flush everything out.
Do you think that eventually we will get to 9, or in 2025 we'll get to 9?
Maybe. I'm less convinced now than I was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, or hell, 3 months ago, I would have said, yeah, we're going to 9.
Yeah.
But then now reading the tea leaves and go, all right, is my employer ESPN going to pay them a boatload of more money? Maybe, maybe not. If they do, well, then you probably revisit it. But I really do think it is let's see how this plays out, because the idea of everybody was talking about, well, 8 games, you're ducking, every real conference plays 9. I'm like, well, that's BS. Like, we've done pretty well. We won 13 of the last 17 national championships with an 8-game conference schedule. Like, why change anything if it's working? I think this is a good time to dive into the first year of a college football expansion, see how it works, see what works, what doesn't work, and if you want to change it, change it. But you don't make moves unless you absolutely have to. That's what weak conferences do, and that's not the SEC.
On Twitter at Peter Burns, ESPN. You can give him a follow there. We're talking about the schedule for 2024. Do you I love how much meat is on the bone for LSU's, which is probably where we should have started, but we'll finish there because you're also getting 2 Power 5 non-conference games. You're going to play 2 Big Ten opponents in USC and UCLA. A thought on what LSU drew?
I mean, as far as an SEC schedule, anything that got you out of the SEC West was going to be easier than what that murderer's row was. I mean, you go back and look at State's always been kind of a thorn in some of these games, and Ole Miss, and Auburn. I mean, the West was just the 27 Yankees for the last decade of really, really high caliber recruiting classes, great rivalries, and games. So no matter what was going to happen, LSU and most of the West teams were going to get an easier draw than they traditionally did. But there goes back into your conversation about 8 or 9. Like, if you had 9 conference games, well, you're getting rid of USC or UCLA more than likely, right? There's no sense in adding 2 of those Power 5 games. Or like in Florida's case, they play 3 of them. They've got UCF, Miami, and Florida State. So I kind of prefer having it where you got your 8, it rotates, and then now you got an opportunity to play some really cool teams outside of your footprint. Because, I mean, I want payback from the UCLA loss, and I sure as hell want payback of when, USC, the frauds they were in 2003 trying to claim that they won a national championship.
Well, I mean, I've always said if LSU had won the AP, we would be claiming it here. So I don't mind them claiming the AP. We all know who's got the crystal football. And you know what, PB? Bring that sissy blue shirt down here. Let's take care of business in Baton Rouge. How about that? Get you a sissy blue shirt is what I'm going to do, PB. Where's the fam going to dinner? Maybe Olive Garden? Home Depot?
To be determined. We literally, we have no plans. We just go head in their direction, and we, maybe go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Maybe go. It does not. Listen, we are just merely trying to run out the clock until I head to Omaha coming up on Sunday night. So.
All right, man. Always great to talk. Safe travels to the Midwest, and pull the Tigers through there in Omaha. Be a completely partisan fan while you're there. Purple and gold the whole time.
Absolutely. Are you going to be? And I just found out that our ESPN hotel is at the same hotel as LSU is staying. So
nice.
That does not bode well for my intake of adult beverages for the weekend.
Terrific. Enjoy dinner. Thank you as always for the time. We'll talk soon.
See ya.
All right, man. Later. That's Peter Burns. This is After Further Review. Brought to you by HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. I had been telling you for a while that this was a very real possibility. And, of course, the legislative session has come and gone, and the governor has, in fact, signed legislation regarding fortified roofs in Louisiana. I'll remind you, HUDCO, and this is something that we're all going to learn. As a state, and everyone that lives in our state is going to learn about fortified roofing. But I've been telling you for months now about it as a way to sort of till the soil. Fortified roofs HUDCO is the first Louisiana-based roofing company to be a certified fortified roofing company. There are states all along the coast that have mandated fortified roofs. It's to prevent water damage when you do have roof damage. It's essentially an extra layer of protection under the shingles. I'm way oversimplifying this. To prevent water damage if you have roof damage. Insurance companies, depending on your insurance provider, will give as much as a 52% discount on your homeowner's insurance premium when you have a fortified roof. So if you're interested in learning more, give us a shout at HUDCO. Go to HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com. We are in every touch point of the state, every corner of this state. Go to HUDCOroofing.com. You get all the phone numbers at the top of the page, 318-225-504, 337-985. We'd love to help you out. I'm on a HUDCO text chat, and we just got this notification of a terrible storm in the metro New Orleans area. Large hail, wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour. So y'all stay safe. And if you do end up having hail damage or wind damage or need a roof inspection, we would love the opportunity to help you out. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Okay, we'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros when we come back. Anthony Renato in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll talk Omaha with the big fella. Matty Hudak recapping Saints 3-day minicamp next hour as well. We got a ton to do and glad you're here. Stick around with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Not too late, y'all. It is not too late to enter to win one of those signed baseballs from members of the G team. Gavin Guidry, Gavin Dugas, Trey Morgan. Signed baseballs from those members of the G team. There are 20 of them, and you could win one of the autographed baseballs. Trey Morgan's autograph is actually really cool. It's got a gold pen right there with the TM and an 18 on it. Looks pretty fire. You can win one of those autographed baseballs. It's easy to do. Follow Gordon and the players on social media. Share the post. Tag a friend. Register at GordonGives.com. So again, go to GordonGives.com. GordonGives.com for all the info. And then go to the social media post on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. You'll see it all right there. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Win an autographed baseball from members of the G team. And remember, go to GetGordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Relentless reporting gets results.
I'm never going to stop until we get the answers you need.
Uncovering more as the powerful try to cover things up.
What happens in the dark will always come to light.
Founding new principles and practices for the state of Louisiana.
Chief Investigative Reporter Chris Nakamoto.
Chris Nakamoto and the Investigative Unit. Recipients of Columbia University's prestigious DuPont Award.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number 2, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
We'll start with the game in progress. Aaron Nola just finished up spinning a gym versus the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Of course he did.
6 2/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 punch-outs, 104 pitches, 71 for strikes. Nola leaves with the lead, 5-4, and a chance to win it. We'll see if the Phillies can hold on. You don't sound confident, Matt.
No, I don't. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a lot of success on the baseball diamond yesterday in Tigers in the Pros for the former guys. Not as much today. Alex Bregman last night wore the collar 0 for 4 in the Astros' victory over the Washington Nationals. Had 1 strikeout as well. First time in a while there's been a 0 in the hit column for Alex Bregman. He's been pretty hot. Minor league baseball action. Andrew Stevenson did have success. His 4th home run of the season last night. 2 for 6. It was part of a 2 for 6 night, I should say. 1 run scored, 1 RBI. Steve-O, 306 at the top of the lineup there in the AAA ranks for the Washington Nationals.
Get him back up.
I'm about to say, get our guy back up.
Get him back up.
They stink. Y'all stink. You're about to draft Paul Skeens. Let's just build the LSU camaraderie there in D.C. Jake Slaughter, speaking of someone who needs a call-up, 1 for 4 last night for the Iowa Cubs. 1 run scored, drove in 2 runs with the single that he hit as well. 250, the average so far for Slaughter. Up to 50 RBI, though. Already half a hundo. It's June. It's well within his sights. Really solid year so far for Jake Slaughter.
Fitty.
And the Cubs are just have fun in minor leagues. Excuse me. The U.S. Open underway. L.A. Country Club. It's not very U.S. Open-like. 262 shot today. Sam Burns, 1 over par so far through 4 holes. That is very U.S. Open-like. 9 shots off the pace right now is Sam Burns. But plenty of time left. See if those scoring conditions can return.
I hate the U.S. Open.
Why? I love it is my favorite golf tournament of the year. There's so much good about it. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. As Hannah Griff would say, go cheer for the golf course. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Don't interrupt my live read. Come on, man. You're better than that, Muse. Lee Michaels, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. 9 locations in all, 2 in Baton Rouge, Corporate and Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Yes, and the U.S. Open sucks. Who wants to see the best golfers in the world struggle?
It's not about them struggling.
I can go watch myself. I can go struggle myself on a golf course. I want to see them be really good on a golf course.
AFR,
and I can see it 2015. Better than 2020, thanks to the Williamson Eye Center. I can watch golfers hack their way all around a course with perfect vision, Muse. Better than perfect vision because of the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, big hat tip. If you follow the Williamson Eye Center on all their social media, Dr. Blake was awarded Regional EVO Ambassador at the Experts Summit in Milan, Italy. EVO is giving their patients amazing results, especially those who thought they didn't have any options for vision correction. If you're high prescription, if you have an astigmatism, thin corneas, this could be an option for you. I tell you all the time, no matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center has a solution. So shout out, hat tip to Dr. Blake. Congrats on getting to go to Milan, Italy as well. That's just really cool. I mean, congrats. It's phenomenal. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets with a hood to swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The 123rd U.S. Open underway today at the Los Angeles Country Club, and history is made in round one. Ricky Fowler and Xander Schauffele both shoot 8 under 62, a U.S. Open record. Fowler with 10 birdies in his round. They're tied for the lead. No one else closer than 5 shots. Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau among those 3 under. The third major of the year getting started as the Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. Department of Justice has opened a review of the planned golf merger involving the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the Saudi Public Investment Fund. ESPN's Mark Schleybaugh says no one knows yet if Live Golf will exist after this year.
Everybody around the PGA Tour thinks Live's going away, so we'll just have to see. I don't think anybody really knows the truth, and people are just repeating what they've heard, but certainly a lot to shake out over the next several months.
Mark Schleybaugh, the Nuggets got their championship parade today in downtown Denver.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Have it. Jacob Beck. We got to extend that one, remember, as well. I want to get, like, the longer Beck. Because you can't hear the Get Crazy with the Cheese Whiz. Didn't we talk about that last time? Yeah.
I wasn't here, though, because he was filling in for me, so this is the first I'm hearing about that, actually.
So I forgot about that. Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomlin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. I do feel like, though, you've been here at some point, however, with Beck.
That we've done a drop. Because that's why it took me so long to find it in the first hour. I didn't know where it was on my hotkeys.
Beck, have you done video on the show before?
I don't think I actually have.
You've never done video on the show before?
I don't think so. I've done audio whenever Muso host.
Alondra filled in for video one time.
Yes.
I'm going to consult the schedule, but I'm going to say you have done video on the show before.
I don't think I have, but it's possible, I guess.
You've done video on the show before.
All right.
Because the very first thing we had to do whenever we started the show today with the camera, we had to do it the last time you were here as well. Which is perfectly fine. It's just framing a shot, by the way. And I remember that. I'm going to find it.
Okay.
And then who pulled the Beck drop?
I did before I left for a bachelor party.
That's what it was.
And where were you?
Well, I worked whenever he left, and then we played.
So you have video produced here.
No, I was doing audio.
Okay, I have Renato on hold. Okay,
shut up. Why are you talking to us about this?
I am externally processing. I don't need to get into an argument. I have a guest on hold, and you guys can't stop talking about this drop. Okay, let's just extend the drop, and let's bring Renato on. Anthony, thank you for the time. How are you?
You guys are incredible. That was amazing. I got the play-by-play. I was a little unsure if I was on air. I didn't know. It was great.
That was the best one of the whole thing. Do I say anything?
That was great.
Should I say anything? I don't know.
I was like, I don't know. I didn't know if it was a prank. You guys were messing with me or something.
No, not messing with you. Sorry we wasted 4 minutes of your time. But we do appreciate your time, as always, whenever, contrary to what you might believe after we just wasted your time, we do appreciate when you join us here on the show. Hey, one of the big topics going on right now is LSU is practicing at the stadium for the first time. For a lot of these guys, it's their first time seeing it. You got to do this in 08 and 09. Granted at Rosenblatt, but what do you remember about your first time to Omaha, first time seeing the stadium, all of those first, and what impact it had?
Yeah, I think it didn't seem real. I think I allude to this all the time of why I think we won it in 09 was that allure was kind of gone. That, oh my God, I'm here. We've seen it on TV. We've talked about it for so long, and now it's actually here. It was kind of hard for me. I was a freshman also, so it might have been different for me. But it was just, I was in awe. I really was. I'd never played in a stadium that big. There was so much history and tradition, and obviously playing for LSU and representing LSU was was pretty special. So there was a lot of feelings and emotion there for sure.
So how much did it change then? Natural question, right? Year to year. Like when you went there in 2009, how was it different?
Man, it was night and day. I was talking to Jared Mitchell about this on my podcast the other day, and it was like that first year, it was like, oh, we made it here. We did. We were on the win streak, all this stuff. And the next year, it was like, no, we're here to win, to win a championship. We're not here for the autograph signings and the fans. I mean, we were there for that, but we were here for business. We wanted to win, and there was time for celebrating and everything afterwards. So it was more of a business trip when we went there, and we knew what we were there for.
So does that give you pause with respect to this team, because the only ones that have been there are Riley Cooper, Bryce Collins?
Yeah, it does. I think LSU has some of the best leaders in the country. They have some of the best talent in the country. So, I think they're a lot better than our 08 team and stuff like that. And their leadership is probably a little stronger and more experienced and stuff like that, just being in college and a new era. So as much as it concerns me, I think they have the right personnel and the right people there. And I think that'll quickly wear off when, the lights come on and it's Saturday night or Saturday at 6 p.m.
The podcast he referred to, of course, is the Up and In Show. Make sure you subscribe up. You can get it on all the social media platforms. We'll make sure you're following Anthony and Up and In Show. So you mentioned all the players, of course, and LSU has arguably the most talented roster in the country. It's either LSU or they do. It is the most talented roster in the country.
I think,
yeah. No, okay. Let's say, all right. There was literally a story last week saying that it's like more valuable than 10 minor league farm systems. So yes, they have the most talented team in the country. What about playing Tennessee again? How do you look at the challenge of facing a team in this format, right, or in this phase of the postseason as opposed to in the regular season?
Yeah, I think anytime you face a team like Tennessee that has the arms that they have and plays in the conference that they do, it's a worthy opponent. And then, obviously taking 2 out of 3 against them during the season, beating the team that many times, 3 out of 4 in the season makes me a little concerned, but if we're the better team, I like our chances. And I think, anytime you got Paul Skeens on the mound, I think that to me is the ultimate confidence booster. So I think it'll be fun to see who they throw and who they go with. If they go with Dollinger or not, but either way, I'm looking forward to it. And I think the Tigers take care of business and Skeens does his thing. So like I said, anytime you got that guy on the mound, I feel good about it.
I think everyone agrees. Like, absolutely. I mean, you just hand him the ball, you're expecting to win, and that's been the case. His consistency has been remarkable. But what I would like your thoughts on how this thing is structured now, right? As opposed to when you were there and you all won it in 2009, the big difference is that there was less downtime now, right? Yeah. How do you manage Skeens for obviously is the most obvious thing, like to try to maybe get him 3 outings if possible, or is that even possible?
Yeah, I think it depends on how the games go, and how Jay manages his workload. And then, I mean, obviously their relationship and what they have behind closed doors is going to determine probably the most, the best answer to this, which I don't have enough insight on. But anytime you're dealing with a high-profile talent like that, you got to be careful of it. And so Jay's obviously going to manage that. But I think Skeens is a gamer, and so I think I wouldn't be crazy surprised if he pitches 7 innings and if we get a lead or something like that, and he comes out because. That's kind of what Paul, Coach Maneri did with me in the Arkansas game. And I had I only pitched 6 innings, but I had 67 pitches, and he yanked me quick because we had an early lead. And I was able to bounce back for that final game in the championship. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And I think the games will probably determine how he utilizes him.
Do you think it's possible? So this is the scenario I've laid out. And again, this is, like, if this were a big league conversation, it's very different because you're pitching every 5th day, right? It's different in college. But if Paul Skeens throws on Saturday against Tennessee, like we're all expecting he will, in theory, he could come back on 4 days rest for that Thursday, if necessary, game. And it's, look, this game either gets you into the championship series or ends your season. And then if he pitches there, in theory, on 3 days rest, could pitch on the final day in some capacity of the championship series if LSU gets there. What's your thought on that?
I mean, I love the sound of that because that's the recipe that happened when I was there. So, granted, I didn't have a great start and we had to come back, and so I didn't pitch a lot in my first game, and I was able to come back on 4 days rest. But I pitched against, I think it was Virginia, and they knocked me around a little bit, and I only pitched like 3 innings, or it was like 3-3, 4-3. We were in the game. But Maneri came out and he took me out of the game. He said, "I'm gonna take you out of the game. I know you don't have your best stuff tonight. You did what you could." He's like, "But we're gonna need you, in a game to get to the finals. So." He's like, we're going to, rest you a little bit now and take you out. And so if something like that happens, I'm not saying Skeens is going to come out that early or anything, but it's definitely doable. And I think that game to get you into the championship series is huge. Or, again, to save your season is you want that guy on the mound. So I think that could definitely happen, and I don't think it's out of the question at this point for sure.
Anthony Renato is our guest, former Tiger great, of course, 2009 national champion. You referenced the show that you and Jared Mitchell did, and I was listening to a part of it where you all were talking about it kind of being time for the next team to win. I mean, because you guys have been the last one now for 14 years. So I mean, go ahead. I just was hoping you could elaborate a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's it. I mean, we're ready to pass the torch, man. I think, I think too. This team is just so it feels special. It feels good. It feels like there's good energy. The guys are right. It's something that seems like it would be a great memory for years to come. So it feels good for us. We know how special a championship has been for our group, for our friendship. For the town, Baton Rouge, the fans, all of that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Jay's a great guy too. So I really want that for Jay. I think there's a lot of scrutiny on him, and anytime you take over a program and have that much expectations. I really would love to see it for him. And then obviously it gives us a little bragging rights, right? I love being able to brag to say that we got 7 national championships. That would be a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll see.
Tigers and Vols Saturday from Omaha. Do you wish you at least had a chance to play at the new park?
Yeah, and especially those first couple of years when the balls weren't flying, man. When I was there, we were playing with orange stealth. It was like hitting a golf ball with an aluminum bat. Those balls were flying everywhere. So yeah, I would have loved that. That would have been awesome.
Touche. Hey, do you think the ball is juiced?
At some point, we got to think so. I don't know, man. It's when you're setting records and the ball is flying like it is. I don't know. I don't know. How can you do that? I don't know. You just hold tighter balls until the postseason, or
well, no, it's been all year, man. I mean,
it's been all year. Yeah.
You literally set the record for the most home runs across college baseball in a season. I mean, even more than the rocket launcher years in the 90s.
Which is crazy.
Of course.
They have to be juiced.
Yeah, I always say, this is always my default with stuff like this, Anthony, is if you're a pitcher, it's like I've had this conversation with Ben McDonald. A guy like you spent, from what age did you first start holding a baseball every day of your life? What age would that have been?
Probably 4 years old.
Okay.
For real. Like at some point there was a ball in my hand. Yeah.
Every day from 4 until 30?
Yeah.
Okay. So for a quarter of a century, every day you had a ball in your hand. You know what it feels like, how it's supposed to act, respond, what it's going to do.
Right.
When you know if it's different. You know. How? I don't know. You just know. So, yeah, all these pitchers are telling me the ball's juiced. I believe them. The ball's juiced.
Me too, 100%. So I wish I would have had that conversation with Skeens a little bit too, because I had him on the podcast. But, dude, I'm sure guys have told you, even jumping from the minor leagues level to level, the balls change. And AAA is closest to the big leagues, but I really firmly believe the reason I was terrible in the big leagues was I struggled to adjust to how different the ball was. My curveball didn't play as much, and my fastball I didn't have as much feel with it. So I think that's a huge thing. Like you can definitely tell a huge difference.
That's an interesting combo, man. Up and In show. Make sure y'all check it out. Former Tiger great Anthony Renato, national champion. Always great to spend a couple of minutes chatting, man. Hope to see you soon. All right.
Always. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks. We'll see you. That's Anthony Renato. You'll follow him on Twitter as well. All right, Saints wrapped up 3-day minicamp today. Our friend Matty Hudak will be here right after the break. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by New Orleans Flooring. That's NOLAflooring.com, NOLAflooring.com. You know where to find them with 2 locations, Metairie, hence New Orleans Flooring, and the newest location, which is on Airline Highway in Prairieville, south on Airline into Prairieville, past the Walmart on your right, boom, there's New Orleans Flooring. Blue awning, blue sign, can't miss it, New Orleans Flooring. I say it every day, buy where the pros buy. Why do home flippers, remediation companies, contractors, why do they use New Orleans Flooring? Because it's where they can get the best product at the cheapest price. When you're building a quote for someone, You want to make sure that you have money fall to the bottom line. Well, you keep your expenses in check. You can do that. The same is true to you if you're a homeowner. You can buy your flooring today and have it installed tomorrow because at New Orleans Flooring, they keep it in stock and they can give you great discounts. Online, NOLAflooring.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford has up to $7,000 off MSRP plus 0% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Saints put a button on a 3-day mini camp on Thursday. Maddie Hudak was there right now. She's here. Maddie, we always appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing good. I do have a message for you, though, from Mike Detillier that he has your I Survived line camp shirt waiting for you.
Okay, fantastic news. I'm glad to hear it. I think by now, after all these years, every year, Coach Pete and Coach Rod end up giving me a new shirt. So I have like the one I wore 25 years ago, whatever it was. And then every year they keep giving. So I have this stockpile of I Survived line camp shirts. They're pretty fire, though. I love it.
Hey, I'm glad you're surviving a weekend that you're not experiencing, but I guess when you go through it, you perennially survive.
I know. It was a hellacious experience, but I had a lot of fun. I would assume this mini camp was probably a little more low-key. So takeaways, 3 days, mini camp. We know, like, no pads or anything like that. If I said, what was your biggest takeaway, what would you say?
Just the air feels different. It feels, again, like everything is kind of coming together because of what's going on under center at quarterback, but also how they're using other players in a more creative way as a result of that. Like just the fact that Alvin Kamara has been so involved as a receiver and really impressed every single day with the catches that he's made and getting the tight ends involved, having Taysom Hill work with the tight ends one day and then running a 2-minute offense today. And everyone seems to kind of be enjoying figuring out what versatility they can bring to the team, as well as just really good competition at some positions. The fact that there's a genuine CB2 battle between Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor is probably the best problem that a team can have. So it's been really positive, and there hasn't been any injuries that have really soured the vibe of camp. Chris Olave wasn't there today. Is having something with his Achilles, but you expect a little bit of pulls and whatnot. But it just feels like for all the turnover, especially at the most important position, it's already very consistent and feels like business as usual.
Okay, so Dennis Allen did say the competition at kicker, he mentioned receiver and cornerback, or really just in the defensive backfield. And Maddie, my thought is, okay, it's Lattimore, Adebo, Taylor at nickel, and you got Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May at safety. If it's anything other than that, you got big problems. So we're saying that there's a legit battle here with Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo. How might this play out? What does that mean, trickle-down effect here in that defensive backfield?
Well, just my personal opinion is that they've been trying Alontae Taylor out in the slot for a reason, and it's a very specific skill set that you can't just slot any guy there and have it work out. And you can just kind of see how specialized that skill set was with C.J. Garner-Johnson. But Bradley Roby is an okay option there. I think it's just a question of, is Alontae Taylor a better cornerback? And maybe it's matchup dependent. But watching the way that he shut down DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams after being on injured reserve for a lot of the season and was not that involved in training camp that year either because of injury, his game speed is just really impressive to me. And if you can have two lockdown corners out there on the field at the same time, you get a lot of the ball skills and shutting down deep passing attacks. I think that they lost with Marcus Williams with the range that he offered at safety if you have those two guys on the outside. But at the same time, if no one can play slot in the way that Alontae Taylor can, Paulson Adebo is still a really good cornerback, and so it might make more sense for him to go there. But I think his play last year on the field with everything that was kind of dropping like flies around him has kind of just demanded it as a question worth asking.
Stay on the defensive side. Brzee and Foskey. Any takeaways from the rookies in this minicamp?
Not really. So I just had Mike on as a guest on my show, and we were just talking about, he described it as pajamas and slippers for the O-line and the D-line during this time because, like Peyton Turner got a sack yesterday during the 2-minute offense for Derek Carr and when they were doing a 2-point conversion attempt. But I've seen him do that in training camp several times and then actually not see anything happen on the field. So it's been kind of irritating because that's really the position groups I think people are the most curious about. And you just really can't see that much from what we're seeing. What was more interesting to me yesterday was that there were a couple of reps they ran where Andres Pete was at left tackle and James Hurst was at left guard.
Wow. Okay.
And Andres Pete was, I believe, a left tackle at Stanford,
He was.
They had moved him into that guard role, right? But does that say anything about Trevor Pett? It's hard to say, but it was very noteworthy because we really haven't seen them move Andres Pete out of that position. We've seen them play around with Cesar Ruiz, I think, a little more, who hasn't been present and it hasn't really been clear why. But I do worry more about depth on the offensive side of the ball in the trenches. At the same time, I think that's a positive because I think that the defensive line was probably the biggest hole going into free agency in the draft. And you at least have enough there to really work with.
No, that is interesting, Maddie, about Pete. That's an interesting observation. I mean, he was a left tackle, and we have seen him at times play emergency left tackle when they've had injuries. There were times where they would kick him out and play there when Armstead was injured. So there is maybe something to that, just trying to develop some depth there. But that is interesting, something worth keeping an eye on. Maddie Hudak's with us. She's on Twitter at Maddie Hudak _94, HUDAK _94. Go back to the offensive, because you're right, Maddie. It's so, like, we all want to see the linemen, but it's when it's, as Mike would say, pajamas and slippers, you can't really tell very much. I understand. So we do sort of focus more on the skill guys. So you did say something interesting about Alvin Kamara catching the ball, and that was his forte the first 3 years. We had more than 80 catches each of his first 3 seasons. Now, we've seen those numbers drop, in part, I would assume, because of injury. How much does it look, Maddie, like the offense that we saw early in Kamara's career, or are we seeing changes and evolutions now without Sean Payton?
It's a kind of a chicken or an egg question of, is it just, this is kind of his 4th year, and maybe that vision kind of comes to life when you have Derek Carr under center and you haven't had a guy under center that I guess has allowed you to be creative enough with your usage of Alvin Kamara. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing to say, or that you can kind of use that as an excuse, but it does seem like you're kind of more used to him catching those out of the backfield on just kind of the short wheel routes, but it's the fact that they're lining up in these 4 receiver sets and he's been split out wide pretty consistently, even catching like back shoulder throws. That's something that Drew Brees used to throw to him, but I don't know if the quarterbacks under center have been able to kind of get past the level of just trying the way that Derek Carr describes the intricacies behind throwing to a tight end versus a wide receiver, just in the way he talks about his conversations with them. I have to think that there's a certain level of what they were just simplifying the offense into last year or the year before. But it's going to be really unfortunate if Alvin Kamara gets suspended, just for lack of a better way to say it, because he has looked probably at his best as a receiver, and that's really exciting to see after nothing in that sort last year.
Maddie, before you go, do you have any real take, opinion, viewpoint on the place kicker battle that is reportedly brewing right now?
Yeah, I wanted to actually mention that because today I was standing kind of in the end zone view, if you will, and all of a sudden Blake Grope, who looks like he's my size, and I'm 5'3", it says on here he's 5'7", 160, and I really don't buy that. But you could just, the way he opened up his hips to kick, I hope Brooke Kirchhoffer with NewOrleansFootball.net will try to kick an extra point, and we're both soccer players, and it's such a non-intuitive way to kick a ball. And I've talked to a lot of guys that are former soccer players that go into that role that struggle with that, and I did look it up, and it looks like he played soccer, but his mechanics, it was really windy today. The flags were going absolutely nuts when we were leaving, and he made every single one, and it had just this arc where you don't really worry about the placement of where he was on the field. And it's fascinating enough to even ask that question. And I think that's just less about Will Less and really just more about Blake Grope really having a hell of a day in a windy setting.
Okay. That is one that is going to be fascinating as they move through camp. We'll be following. Maddie Hudak on Twitter at Maddie Hudak _94. Follow her there. We always appreciate it, Maddie. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to camp.
All right, be well. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Traction Sports. TractionSports.com was over at Traction earlier today. Got a good workout in, man. Circuit training, if you're an old guy like me just trying to stay fit, keep in shape, maybe you're a young athlete, it's your son or daughter that's a young athlete in any sport. Traction Sports can help them out become the best version of whatever they want to be in that sport. So you want sport-specific strength training for football, sport-specific agility training for soccer, lacrosse, baseball. It doesn't matter the sport. This morning, like when I go work out, the time I'm there, the Parkview softball team and the St. Joe's soccer team are working out full team workouts with the trainers at Traction, the same trainers that train pro athletes and major college athletes when they're in town. Learn more at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. Baseball summer camps as well. If your son or daughter wants to get into the baseball summer camp, all throughout the summer, full and half-day options are available at TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, it is After Further Review. I'm glad you're with us here. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, Shea Dixon was here in hour number one, and we talked about this recruiting heater that Brian Kelly and the LSU football staff is on right now in recruiting. But I do want to talk a little deeper about the commitment LSU got today, the third in 4 days, from a defensive back out of Tennessee. We'll talk about him when we come back. And updates from Omaha, the College World Series. Tigers should be wrapping up their work. Actually, probably have wrapped up their work now up at the College World Series. Any news, notes, tidbits, we'll pass them along to you before we get out of here. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance, two of Baton Rouge's premier hotel properties. The Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's original skyscraper was the Louisiana National Bank whenever it opened so many years ago. They've maintained so much of the integrity, the history, the tradition of that building, the marbling, the artwork, while continuing to modernize it. It is a gorgeous place to stay the night if you're looking to stay in downtown Baton Rouge, or you want to go have a great cocktail. The bar there inside the lobby at the Watermark Hotel, or the Gregory, the restaurant in the Watermark Hotel, is absolutely incredible. Try the duck entree. If you love duck or have never had duck, trust me, get the duck entree at the Gregory. They have a charcoal oven in the Gregory. So when you walk into the lobby, you smell those amazing aromas all throughout. It's incredible. It's the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $25,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Jimmy Yacht is going to be doing a show following us. We had announced earlier that was not going to happen. The long story short is Hannegriff missed his connecting flight, and he's got the equipment. But as the old adage goes, the show must go on. So Jimmy is going to do the show. Probably, I'm sure it'll be on a phone, so the audio quality won't be necessarily the best, but we're going to push forth and get that show in from Omaha with a Live at Lunch special edition from 6 to 8 p.m. And Hanny, as soon as his flight does land in Omaha, he can join Jimmy. He'll join him there, and they will be on our broadcast equipment. So at some point during the show, they'll hook up and continue. So again, if you're in Baton Rouge, Jimmy and Charles will follow us here on AFR. If you're not in Baton Rouge, you want to listen to the guys live from Omaha. It's coming up here in about 24 minutes on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 104.5ESPN.com, or on the 104.5 ESPN app. Brian Kelly is going scorched earth right now. 3 commitments in 4 days right now for the LSU football program. That is up to 18 now. Latest commit, Andre Evans, Andre with an O, O-N-D-R-E. Andre Evans, the latest commit to LSU today. He's a 4-star defensive back. Now, he's a two-way player in high school. Plays both corner and receiver. But he came to LSU camp, worked out as a cornerback, and completely popped off. And he's got big offers. I mean, he's got Georgia and Alabama among his offers. And if you're talking about a guy, a defensive back that has offers from Georgia and Alabama, you know he's legit. And obviously LSU, DBU, and now he's decided to shut down his recruitment and commit to LSU. So 4-star Andre Evans is the latest commit for LSU's 2024 class. We could all talk about the prospect, and look, if you're 6 foot and 183 pounds and you've got offers from all the major schools, you're legit. We understand that. And that's awesome. The thing that really stands out to me is how many defensive backs LSU has committed in this class right now. You have 18 commitments as part of LSU's 2024 class right now. 18 commits in the 2024 high school class. 7 of the 18 are defensive backs. We've talked about how many guys from Louisiana, which has clearly been a huge push in this class. But 7 of the 18 commitments are defensive backs. DBU, as it was said, DBU was built with elite high school talent. You don't need me to run through the names, but just as a refresher, LaRon Landry, Jamal Adams, Patrick Peterson, Morris Claiborne, Tyrann Mathieu, Derek Stingley, Tre'Davious White, Dante Jackson. I could go on and on and on and on and on. You know the names. LSU built the reputation as DBU through the high school ranks. The last 2 years, LSU has had to attack the transfer portal just to have a competent secondary. Last year, it was Joe Fouché and Greg Brooks and Jark Bernard Converse and Mekhi Garner and Cody Dickerson, a.k.a. Colby Richardson. Before that, you had Major Burns, of course, who you brought in from Georgia. This year, you go and get Denver Harris, J.K. Johnson, Zai Alexander, Deuce Chestnut. You got one returning cornerback. One, LaTerrence Welch. Eventually, you're going to get back to a point where you build that position group through high school recruiting and supplement with the transfer portal. That's what LSU's done on the offensive line. They've built through the high school ranks, and they're supplementing with the portal. Miles Frazier, last year Tremont Shorts as well. They're supplementing. This year they got the big offensive lineman out of Maryland. You've built through the high school ranks. You're supplementing with the portal. And that's what you'd love to be able to do in the defensive backfield and will be able to do eventually. It's why I would argue that the defensive backfield and solidifying that is the most important position group in the 2024 class. We could talk quarterback, but honestly, look at LSU's history with quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels, transfer. Joe Burrow, transfer. Danny Etling, transfer. Zach Mettenberger, transfer. LSU leans on transfers. So that's probably what's going to happen again in the future. I mean, I hope Nussmeier has a great year. Behind him, I hope Ricky Collins is awesome. And Colin Hurley behind him is awesome. And maybe you hit with one of those guys or multiple of those guys. That would be awesome. But I'm looking at a more than a decade sample that suggests you're probably going to have to lean on the transfer portal for quarterback. Okay. You've built the offensive line. I think you've rebuilt your defensive front seven as well. It's time to look at the secondary. And you've got to go ham in that secondary. You added some really nice pieces in the 2023 class, and some of those guys that they're very high on. But understanding it's going to be this year transfers running your secondary. But when those guys process out, if it's to the draft or transfer, whatever it may be, who's next? Making sure you hit on your 2023 signees and add more depth and talent in 2024 assures you that if you do lose guys to the portal, when guys leave portal draft early, you have a stockpile of talent waiting. I mean, the story we always tell is Greedy Williams. Greedy Williams came to LSU and redshirted. He redshirted. And because Christian Fulton was ineligible and you had injuries, 2017, the opener against BYU, Greedy Williams had to play. And all he did was have a pick in like the first 5 games and became an All-American. So, but they had that stockpile of talent waiting. They're building the stockpile again. Because in the transition out of the Ogeron era, when they missed on some guys, and then obviously you had the transfers that you did, and Elias Ricks left, and Dwight McGlothern left, just to field a competent team, you had to go add guys in the portal. And you've had to do that for 2 years. But now you're stacking 2 classes on top of each other to make sure that doesn't happen again. So hat tip to Brian Kelly, the latest commit. Of course, earlier this week it was Joel Rogers, the safety. Today, Andre Evans, a cornerback out of Nashville. That best player in the state of Tennessee and a player that everybody wanted. And you got him. Hat tip, Brian Kelly, Robert Steeples, Matt House, Kerry Cooks, the whole squad there at LSU doing work. Continue to build DBU back up to its expected level. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com. Man, I love telling you about Michelli all the time. I was at lunch earlier today and was talking with some coworkers, and we brought up Michelli. And it's just one of those incredible examples of a business that has maintained local ownership, has been around for more than 70 years, has 30 different locations across 11 different states. And a lot of people in Louisiana may not even be familiar with Michelli or what they do. And we hope that that's a big part of what we've been able to do here, is make you aware of those green and blue letters, the logo that you see so many different places. And listen, so much of our audience are and I love the fact that so many guys who work in those men and women who work in plants all over our state of Louisiana lock into us, but so many of you need those calibration devices, those precision measurement devices calibrated. Michelli does all of that. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, and rent the products you use to weigh and measure. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Online, again, Michelli.com. All right, it's after further review. Jimmy Ott's going to follow us in about 15 minutes. I guess we're doing Otter Locks? I would assume so. Everything just got a little, I don't know, I guess I'm sort of giving you a peek behind the curtain. So when Hanny's flight issue happened today, everything kind of got thrown into flux with making sure this show gets off and all the stuff that we're going to be doing. But anyway, so I'm assuming we're calling Jimmy and going to do Otter Locks coming up right after the break. So we'll see what the Otters got us betting on tonight. We'll do that when we wrap up next here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana.
AFR.
It was 94 degrees today. I was on the elevator with a guy who's working here up, and they're at our radio station. They're installing a new generator and a lot of other stuff. They're changing out switches and stuff. And the guy's from the Northeast, and he was like, "I cannot believe how hot it is down here." I was like, he's like, and he's going to be working here a month, and he's like, "I'm sure I'll get used to it in a month." I said, "Brother, you're never going to get used to it. It never gets. You just live with it. It just never gets better." So you know what that's like. So when your home central AC goes out, it's miserable because it's so hot. Call River City's 1 hour air. Look, Sunday's Father's Day, and I'm not wishing this on anybody, but I tell you all the time, nights, holidays, weekends, if you have an issue with your AC, they'll always come out. They'll never charge you extra. So Sunday happens to be a weekend and a holiday. If you have an issue, call River City's 1 Hour Air. They're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. Give them a buzz, 752-0001.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Just minutes ago at the U.S. Open, former LSU great Sam Burns, par 315, just did this.
Number 2 at 15 today. Two aces on the same hole in the same round for only the third time in a U.S. Open.
Write a 1 on your card, Sammy. Sam Burns, now 3 under at the U.S. Open. All right, one thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we take you up to beautiful Council Bluffs, Iowa, where we find the Ottfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Hanny, Hanny, where are you?
Oh my God! What is it with this guy and his inability to travel without nuisance? What is he doing? He misses his connecting flight.
I mean, he probably got off the wrong airport. That guy, I don't know. You know.
Can you imagine getting on the wrong plane or something like that, ending up in Orlando?
Crazy. No, never. Not even on my son's birthday. No.
It's a true story. It happened. Jimmy ended up on the wrong flight and somehow got on the plane. Stunning.
I said, man, the New Orleans airport, they really did a nice job. This place looks good. What's up with all the Buccaneers gear?
He said Buccaneers. Muse thought you cursed.
Now, come on. Tampa Bay. Bucks, baby. Bucks. Hey, how about Sammy Burns with that hole-in-one? How about Ricky Fowler? 66-1. Brady Cannon gave him out on our show earlier.
Hey, all right.
So that would be good. Look, it's one round, but my goodness, 8 under, and he at a, what is it, U.S. Open? That's damn good. So we'll talk about a U.S. Open tonight. Max is going to be with us. So we'll talk about Colucci. I think he's still up for the celebration with the Golden Knights. Johnny Walker Blue in a hockey stick going through the coyote pasture. So, Matt Humans from Las Vegas talking some golf as well. So we tough luck lost on a couple of games last night. We were close again, but we're going to ride San Diego again tonight, Matt.
Okay.
I like what I'm seeing right now out of the Padres. We know about that. You know about Tatis, and we know about Soto. And man, they got like Xander Bogaerts and Remedo Odor, and some really good players. That lineup is right, and they're on fire right now. The starting pitcher tonight does scare me a little bit, but the Padres were always overpriced. We used to call them the public pods, but not right now. I don't know how much longer you're going to get this decent value, but that's not to follow right now. We got them. I think it's minus $1.40, $1.45 right there.
$1.25 at DraftKings.
There you go. Cheap, like that, just like Hanny, Flying Spirit. So anyway, they listen to him, Matt. They calling for him.
Oh my God!
All right, one more going in.
He did just text that he just landed, so he should be there soon, Otter.
There you go.
Things are looking up.
Did you let him know that the Ameristar does not do valet parking now with COVID? So he's gonna have to tote his little luggage on up here to the casino, the sports book. Minnesota Twins, Matt. First 5.
Okay.
Laying $2. Detroit, Sonny Gray has been outstanding, but he only throws about 5 or 6 innings. So laying $2, but we'll take it. He has been really, really good. So we're going with Twins first 5 and that one. So just a couple of picks tonight in Major League Baseball.
All right. A special edition of Live at Lunch at night is following us. Charles has had some issues with air travel today, but Otter is there in Council Bluffs, which borders, for those who've never been, Iowa borders Nebraska right at Omaha, right there on the state line. So Council Bluffs in Iowa. Where are you all staying?
We're staying at the Ameristar. Ameristar, it's a Penn Gaming property, just like our friends in at LeBear's.
Yeah.
Here. So it's a quality. Man, we're at the sports book. I mean, watching the U.S. Open, watching baseball, and some other stuff. So and also looking for Hanny. So I'm right on the river.
1 minute remaining.
So, and he's going to come just see, and he's going to be so flustered too.
Oh, he's going to be a peach to deal with. I can't wait. I cannot wait. So,
man.
Yeah, but literally GPS from the stadium. I had to go drop this Crystal Musgrove off downtown at her hotel. It's literally 5 minutes from the stadium to over here in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So our buddy Craig Schilling from Atlanta made it over here. He's here.
Very cool. Very cool. Tell the GOAT we said what's up, man.
He's screaming for Hanny.
All right, Otter, we got to go. Have a great show, man. We'll see you.
Buddy.
All right. Of course, Live at Lunch will be in its normal slot tomorrow, but a special edition with Ott and then Hanny whenever he shows up. So if you're heading to Omaha, or the LSU contingent, make sure they go see Otter and the guys in Hanny over at the Ameristar in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Muse, Beck, appreciate you fellas. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Something that Brandon Holly has told me so many times over the years is you have got to be willing to spend your last dollar in order to make a customer happy. And when that's the mindset of the owner of the company, and that's the pervasive mindset of everyone in the company, you are always going to have an exceptional customer service experience. They measure twice and install once. And even still with that, they're not perfect. But if they ever make a mistake, you'll hear Brandon say it, he gets excited about that because that's when he gets to show who Relief Windows is as a company and as people. They love what they do, and they love the people that they're able to work for, and that's you and me and all the great customers that have supported Relief Windows over the years, and I'm thrilled to tell you about them every single day. If you need windows, doors, or siding, you need the best. You need Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com.
At Corvette Toyota in Opelousas, I'm happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to